Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Joppy Noodle Legs with the beautiful Sullivan here today. Hello everybody. Hello mate. Here he is. I know you've all come here to see him. He's a beautiful little boy. He gets the ump because he knows I'm going to be putting him down to do a little video. Right, so today I've got another top 10 for you. Another horror top 10. Today I'm going through my top 10 favourite survival horror films. Now, again, this is a very, very vast sort of like genre because so many types could be put in here, really. I mean, there's obviously loads of sort of like science fiction. There's lots of like sort of slashers. They all can be. What's that? What is he doing? He's trying to get himself a space. All right, there we go. Yeah, so it can cover such a variety of films. I mean, you could class Halloween, Friday the 13th, all these sort of films as survival horrors, Resident Evil films, Saw films. You could all class them as survival horrors because they were like you're trying to survive. So it's such a difficult one to do. So I've done a top 10 and I've tried to have a little think and make a list of films that are not all of them that you've probably not seen that I've shown on any of my videos. I try to include a few sort of ones there, sort of a little bit new. There will be some in here that are obvious, but I can't help it. But there is no Halloween or Friday the 13th and that in here. But I'm just letting you know I do sort of register them as being survival horrors. So before I get to the top 10, I've got 3 honourable mentions. First one I spoke about before, and this is a film called Threads. Now this is basically based in, was made by the BBC, and it's sort of like filmed like a sort of documentary. And basically what it's about a nuclear attack on England, like in Sheffield, here up in Yorkshire. The Russians have dropped a nuclear bomb on England, and this is pretty much sort of like the build up to the actual bomb, and then it's like a survival afterwards, what it would be like, sort of thing. So I've put that in there as an honourable mention. It could have quite easily made the top 10, but there was a few films that I thought, no, it sort of squeezed it out a little bit. Really good watch, very disturbing watch, guys. And especially with today's sort of climate and sort of news, it's quite apt, isn't it? So it's quite a difficult watch at the moment. Could be a little bit scary if you're worried about obviously circumstances that are happening in the world today. Today, my attitude to it is we still just got to get on with life, and just like live life to the full as much as we can. So that's an honourable mention. Next up, I've talked about this many times, and it's made loads of honourable mentions. It's never made a top 10. I don't know why, but it has. But this is War of the Worlds. Now, I do have the original 1950s one somewhere, but I cannot put my hands on it. But I believe they're releasing a remaster of that soon, so I might try and pick that up. And if I do, I'll do a review on it. This is the remake, the Tom Cruise remake, which is really, really good. It's a really, really cool version of that story, War of the Worlds, H.G. Wells. Again, it's a survival. These sort of aliens have come down and taken over, trying to take over the planet and sort of like erase like the human race. So it's a real sort of survival sort of film. So it's really, really cool. Another honourable mention, not on such a grander scale, but still a dramatic story. This is based in Chernobyl, and it's Chernobyl Diaries. This is again about a group of youngsters that are on holiday and have paid to this guy to take them through illegally into the Chernobyl area to do a tour and have a look around the area. And they come across like these sort of like ghosts and sort of creatures that are living there, like the aftermath of the Chernobyl disaster, and they're trying to survive through that. It's a really quite haunting film. It's really, really good. Quite a few jump scares in it. Chernobyl Diaries. It's a really, really cool film. Really, really do like it. So that's my honourable mention. So we're going to get to the top 10. There is one other honourable mention, but I've left it down there. I'll give it a quick shout out, but World War Z is another sort of honourable mention with Brad Pitt. That's a really, really cool film. And it is, again, about this sort of killer virus that's gone around the planet and turned everyone to pretty much zombified. So yeah, that's another sort of like really good survival horror film. Honourable mentions there. Anyway, we're going to get to my top 10. Number 10, this is a surviving a giant monster attack, and it's Cloverfield. Really, really cool film. The second one is really good too, called 10 Cloverfield Lane or something like that. Really, really cool. Another good film. But this is like this giant creature that is sort of like wiping off the planet, and it's like a survival horror, all around the sort of like, I think it's around New York, all around there. It's filmed on like sort of video cams to give you that sort of realistic feel, and there's all these different creatures in the underground and stuff like that. It's a really cool film. Really, really good. Not really spoken about it much on my channel, but I really do like the Cloverfield films, and that's in number 10. Number 9, another one I've not talked about a lot, and it stars one of my favourite actors, Sean Harris, and this is called A Lonely Place to Die. It's a really, really cool sort of like horror film. It's about Sean Harris and his friend are like these uh, sniper assassins, and they're up there trying to kill this group of like hikers and like rock climb mountaineers up in Scotland, and they're like being picked up one by one, um, and they're like trying to survive, like they're sort of like being hunted down. It's a really, really cool film, really, really good film. I really enjoyed it. Really intense, and it's a really, really cool film. If you've never seen that, A Lonely Place to Die, and Sean Harris is in it. It's cool. Of course, he plays the villain. He's one of the best British sort of villains, I think, in films. That's number 8. Number 7, a film that's been in quite a few of my top 10s. I've had to put it in this one as well, and this is The Mist. Basically based about all these sort of creatures, again, outside. It's a monster flick, and all these people stuck inside the supermarket, and all these creatures live within the mist. Gives it a little bit of a Lovecraftian feel to it, and they're trying to survive. The group are falling out with each other, and it's a really good sort of survival horror. In this edition, you get to have the color and black and white versions. Really, really good film if you've not seen The Mist. Number 6 is a double sort of film. It's the Quiet Place with Emily Blunt and Quiet Place 2. These are really, really cool. Again, it's another creature feature about these sort of creatures that are sensitive to any sort of noise. So these people are walking around barefooted all the time and trying to not make any sort of sound whatsoever. They live sort of like underground, so you know it's a really, really awesome film. And Emily Blunt's like pregnant in it. She's trying to give birth without making any noise. It's a really, really great film, and the second one they got the baby with them, and they're keeping it as quiet as possible without making any noise. It's a really good survival horror. I'm not going to go too much into the plot in case you've not seen it, but please watch A Quiet Place. Really good film. Number 7. Number 6, another one I've not really spoken about a lot in my videos. This one stars Scott Speedman and Liv Tyler, sorry, and it's The Strangers. It's about these group of sort of like demented children that are haunting and sort of stalking a family in their house, and they're trying to survive the night through these terrible children. They're really awful, and it's a really, really cool film, really, really good. Not really spoken about this much. I might do a review of this on my channel. I'll think about it. But it's a really good film. Number 6, The Strangers. Number 5 is a classic from the 1960s, and it's George A. Romero's Night of the Living Dead. Had to put this in there because it was the first of that sort of genre, and it's one of the first sort of survival horror films, I think. And it sort of started the survival horror genre as well as the zombie genre. And it's basically about this black dude and this girl and this guy. They all trying to survive, and they all end up going to this house. And they're trying to survive by blocking the house up with all the zombies outside, and it's a typical sort of zombie film, but it's a real good survival horror film too. Um, it is black and white, but that doesn't take anything away from the film. For its time, it was still quite extreme, and it's definitely worth a watch if you've never seen it. Night of the Living Dead. That's my number 5. This is the network TV version. There is another Criterion version which I would love to pick up. I might try and pick that up sometime because I think it's got a better transfer. And if I do, I'll do a review of that. Okay, number 4. Again, it's another double film, and this is the Wreck films. These are great. These are Spanish films. This one, the first one, is about a Spanish film crew following a fire and a fire station on their duties one night, and they get called to this building, and they go in there, and what it is there's a virus in there, which has made some people like zombies sort of hide, and that now building is now isolated. They can't come out, and they're in there, and so they're trying to survive not being killed off or catching this virus. And the second one sort of follows on from the first. It's a really creepy jump scare horror films, and they are really scary films. Really, really cool. A lot of looking at some people's reviews on here. Like one paper says it's a horror masterpiece. Another one says the scariest film ever. Don't know about that, but it is very, very scary. Wreck is in at number 4. Number 3, another film I don't speak about very much, starring is it Viggo Mortensen, and this is The Road. This is a sort of post-apocalyptic sort of film about a father and son trying to survive all these sort of different groups of people, because it's like post-apocalyptic, so you've got groups of humans all over the place, like little good groups of people and horrible groups of people, and they're trying to survive that. And it's a real heart-wrenching story, and it's a very sad, depressing story. Great film though. I really, really love it, and it's really heartbreaking. And I love the music. The music's done by Warren Ellis and Nick Cave. They did the soundtrack to this. It's a really, really cool film. Absolutely excellent film if you've never seen The Road. It is quite a sad story, and it's quite depressing, but it's a really, really good film to watch if you've not seen it. And my top 2 are going to be so obvious. You can think, yeah, well, I know you're going to do this job. But I had to. Number 2, of course, The Thing. Amazing survival horror film. You know the premises of the film. I've told you so many times. They're stuck in the middle of like the Antarctic, and obviously they can't reach anyone. So it's a real survival thing of this monster and who's been infected by it. It's a fantastic movie. I'm not going to waste too much time telling you about it because you already know. And number 1, here we go again, you say. It has to be Alien. I mean, it's the greatest, isn't it? It's the greatest survival film ever. I mean, it's like, how can you beat this? I mean, they even made a game on the PlayStation called Alien Isolation, and it's just like this, really. And it's one of the best survival horror games ever made. It's one creature, and it's wiping out the crew, and they've got to try and survive. It's the greatest survival horror film. It's the greatest horror film. It's the greatest sci-fi film. It's the greatest film. I can't help it. It's going to be in a lot of my top 10s because if it covers so many of my favourite genres, so it's going to be in there. And how can I pull it any lower the number one. So, I'm so sorry. There we go. My top 10 favourite survival horror films are there. So there's some great ones there if you've never checked out before. Check out Chernobyl Diaries. Check out the Lonely Place to Die. Check out Wreck. It's fantastic. Check out The Strangers. It's quite disturbing. Um, so yeah, some great survival films in there. What are yours? Write them down below. I'll be interested to hear about them. And until the next video, check out some more channels for me. Horror Geek, of course. Horror Hands, he's the man. Check that channel out. Check out Man v Film, RS Designs, Horror in Todge, Pizzawell with Jeremy. Fantastic. Um, check out Sarah of Horror. All amazing channels. Please check them out, guys. Until next time, I want a shout out, of course, to my son. Hope you're well, buddy. Keep watching your horror movies. He's getting well into his horror movies and his arrows. He's taking after his dad and he's starting to collect some Arrow films. Oh, bad influence, isn't I? So, anyway, good. I hope you're well, buddy. Anyway, till next time, guys, look after yourselves, look after one another, and I really hope I see you all soon.